guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Now, a week or two ago, I brought you the top 10 rare champions for Spider's Den. Spider's Den is such an important dungeon to be able to clear, to have a really nice optimized team, because that's where you're going to be getting, 99% of all of your jewelry inside this game. All of your, all the artifacts for your rings, for your amulets, and for your banners, which is so important. So having an optimized Spider team is crucial for success inside Raid Shadow Legends. Today, there's a great group of epic champions that thrive inside Spider's Den. We're going to talk about all 10 of them. Let's go ahead and jump into the list. First up is UltimateGalic. Now, UltimateGalic was an Amazon Prime champion, so hopefully a lot of you guys actually have him if you or your family member had Amazon Prime. But he is Magic Affinity, he is an Orc champion, and he is great for Spider. He's built for Spider in a lot of ways, and on all of his abilities, he has a chance of landing an HP burn. An HP burn, especially on the AoE, on Spider is just such a great ability because it's going to be ticking so many times because of all the Spiderlings onto the Spider. I myself, on my main team, use HP burn strategy, and in that strategy you try to keep all the Spiderlings alive and stunned, and then you land the HP burn on everybody and it spreads to the mother Spider and just does a ton of damage again per tick. Now on the A1, a chance of HP burn if he's under the increased attack. You need to have an increased attack buff champion on the same team as your UltimateGalic, right? On the A2, same thing, a one enemy hit, and it has the chance of placing down an HP burn. On the A3, attacks all enemies 2 times. The Burning Rage ability is his go-to for Spider's Den. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns if this champion is under an increased attack buff. Each hit also has a 75% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 20% if the target is under an HP burn debuff. So super solid on the Burning Rage ability. It's really what makes him amazing for Spider's Den. A pretty solid champion all around, but certainly in Spiders, he's one of the better epics just because of that AoE 2-time hitter with the HP burn 50% chance and the turn meter manipulation. Turn meter manipulation and HP burn, both 2 incredible abilities for Spider's Den. Next up is Royal Guard. Royal Guard is a high elf magic affinity. You guys probably already know about Royal Guard. He's famous because of his takedown ability, his A2. But his kit overall is really solid, right? And he's amazing in Spider. A lot of teams run multiple Royal Guards. That's how good he is because of the takedown ability. Razor Blade on the A1 attacks one enemy, 50% chance of placing the 60% decreased defense debuff. On the A2, attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to enemy max HP. And besides Clan Boss, the Spider Mother has the most HP out of any boss inside the game, so this ability is just amazing on her. You're going to be hitting for 500,000 up to 1,000,000 plus damage on this A2 depending on the level and the gear of your Royal Guard. But either way, it's going to be a monster ability to do just tons of damage, not just to the Spiderlings, but mainly to the Spider Mother. And then on a Hamstring on the A3, attacks 4 times at random. Each has a 60% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Each hit also has a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 25%. And just like we talked about with Gallic, that turn meter, keeping the turn meter low on both the Spiderlings and the Spider Mother is key to success, especially as you get to the higher levels in Spider's lair. Next up is Grizzle Jarl. Now, Grizzle Jarl is underrated when it comes to Spiders. You look at a lot of the tier lists out there, they'll actually have him in S tier, and he's going to be on my top 10 list as well because he just has a really kind of low-key, a lot of these champions on today's list are going to be pretty obvious, but Grizzle Jarl might be one of those guys that you have in your vault. You could use a little support in the area where he provides it, and you can add him right onto your Spiders team. So on the A1 here, he has attacks one enemy, 35% chance, 50% chance when booked, placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. That's really solid on the A1, 100% heal reduction. On the A2, place a block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn, and then place a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. So helping out with the increased defense, more importantly, the block debuffs is going to prevent that poison from landing from all those Spiderlings for 1 turn. And then on his A3, attacks all enemies, his big AoE attack. Has a 75% chance, 100% chance when booked. You can see it takes a lot of books though, so that is 1 knock against him. Placing a 50% decreased attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. That's whatever. Decrease attack is not that important for spiders, but decreases each target's max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted is huge. Again, you know, a reoccurring theme here. I'll stop repeating it every single champion, but the decreasing target's max HP, decreasing target's turn meter, those are important skills that are utilized in Spider's Lair, which just don't have that dramatic of an effect in other dungeons. But the 30% max HP is pretty solid as well, and based on the damage inflicted can really compound a lot because of all the number of spiderlings out there alive at different times in your spider battle. So Grizzle Jarl, definitely a solid option, kind of an A-tier option for spider in the epic category. Next up is Sylar. Sylar is a dark elf void affinity. She's a little bit more difficult to get, but she is amazing in spider. She is built for Spider's Lair. So on the A1, attacks all enemies. Straight up AoE on the A1 Surge. On the A2, Toxic Cloud, another AoE attack, has an 80% chance, 100 when booked, of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. That's really going to help you out to prevent those spiderlings from landing their poisons on your main damage dealer or your lower HP champion. And then on the A3, plays a 30% decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, and then decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 40% on a 4-turn cooldown. Really solid champion for Spider's Den is Sylar. Did I say Spider's Lair earlier? My bad. Spider's Den. Staying with the Dark Elf Voids, guys, we have Lua up next. Lua also has a great kit for Spider's Den. Splinter Arrow on the A1 attacks one enemy, deals 50% of the damage inflicted to all enemies if the attack is critical. Lua is one of those champions, too, that, you know, to get to Spiders, I don't know, 17 or so, you can just use her to straight out just nuke the spiders and the spiderlings to death, right? You don't have to worry about keeping them alive and HP burning or anything like that. If you have Lua, if you're lucky enough to pull her kind of early game or mid game, you can get by with Lua, and she can be used even in Spider's 22, but I'm just saying earlier, kind of like another champion on this list coming up soon, she just dominates Spider. Attacks the rare 3-hit AoE, attacks all enemies 3 times. Each critical hit heals this champion by 2.5%. So because each critical hit times all the spiderlings in the spawned at the moment, that's going to heal her up like 50% or more on oftentimes, because you're building her obviously with 100% crit rate. And then on Lucky Shot, attacks one enemy, fully depletes the target's turn meter, will ignore shield and block damage buffs. So whatever about the shield and the block damage, but once every 4 turns when booked, this is your big money shot to totally decrease the turn meter of the spider mother by 100%. Not too bad, Lua, not too bad. So next up is maybe a controversial champion on this list. If you look at his reviews here, again, not reading too much into reviews, but people rank him a 3.2, his lowest score. However, Lightsworn is a champion that if you're having difficulties keeping your Koltar, keeping your Royal Guard, your big damage dealers, or your glass tanks alive, this is where he's absolutely just a game changer for you. If your big damage dealers are always dying, if you always die right before that spider, you know, you have it low on HP, and then it gets off that big heal, and the whole match is just out the window, right? So his kit, one enemy 3 times, decrease the target's turn meter by 10%. All right for Spider on A1. On the A2, just one enemy, decrease attack debuff, and a 30% decrease speed debuff for 2 turns. Again, all right if you land it on the Spider for the decreased speed. And then this is really the ability that Lightsworn is known for. A 60% increased defense buff and a revive on death buff on all allies for 2 turns. On a 4-turn cooldown, that's going to help you revive up that Koltar after she dies from those poisons, or whoever your big damage dealers are. So having a Lightsworn on your team can be a difference maker in terms of just rezzing up again your damage dealers, and then you heal them up with another champion, you're right back in that fight, okay? So Lightsworn definitely can be a key part of support on any Spider team, even though he's not traditionally that like big AoE nuker that we're looking for in a lot of other of these champions on the list. So High Katoon has made it on almost all of my top 10 lists out there because I really think she is just, you know, S-tier epic champion inside the game. She is the apothecary of epics, and let's take a look at her kit. Attacks one enemy, 25% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed. Again, decreased speed is valuable against Spider. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%, and then places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns on the 3-turn cooldown. Really solid ability in Rally the the Horde. Now, she also has an AoE attack, you know, where Apothecary has that single target heal, she has an AoE with a 50% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 15%. It makes her even better for spiders than Apothecary, just because of this AoE with a decreased turn meter as well. So she increases our turn meters, she gives us the speed, and then she decreases the turn meter with a decreased speed on her A1. Definitely a really solid kit, and you can run her in the lead to increase ally speed in all battles by 19%. A lot of people will run High Katoon, especially you know, in mid game on Spider as their lead, and just go speed running, speed farming against Spider because she is the queen of speed. Next up is Saqqara. Saqqara, another one of the big nukers on this list. On her A1, attacks one enemy and fills this champion's turn meter by 25% if the attack is critical. On the A2, again, a 3-hitter on the AoE on the A2. And here it is. It is attack all enemies 3 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of removing one buff from the target. Don't care about the buffs. We do care about the 4-turn cooldown, the AoE 3-hitter. And then on the A3, she has another AoE attack. And that's on a 4-turn cooldown when booked up. Again, this is one of those champions that does take a ton of books, so it keeps a lot of people away from Saqqara. But if you have the books, if you want to invest in her, she can definitely bring you success inside a Spider's den. Attacks all enemies, has a 60% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff for the 2 turns. So an AoE with the weaken mixed with a 3-hitter AoE on the A2. This is nice too, but only when Alika is on the same team. Revives this champion with 75% HP when killed. So there you have it. That's Saqqara, a Magic Affinity Barbarian champion. So next up is Skullcrown. Skullcrown, again, known for being a beast in Spider's den as well as in the arena. Attacks all enemies in AoE with an extra hit if the target has more than 50% HP on the A1. On the A2, again, an AoE attack, has a 50% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff, 75% chance when booked out on the A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. Not bad at all. So great 2 AoE abilities on a 2-hit chance on the A1. Then her passive is unkillable buff. You guys know her. She's very, very famous and notorious for unkillable buff in the arena on this champion for 1 turn every time her HP drops below 20%. Definitely helpful in a variety of areas in the game. And then revives this champion when she's with Synesha on the same team. And then her aura is speed in the arena. Obviously not going to help you in Spider's Den, but still Skullcrown is a great option for an AoE nuker inside Spider's Den. So I saved the best for last. I'm sure a lot of you guys were like, dude, if he doesn't include Miscreated Monster, then what the heck is he smoking? Because Miscreated, I told you in, what, 2 or 3 videos ago, I went on the record, not that anybody cares in the world, but he is my favorite epic champion inside all of Raid Shadow Legends. I love Miscreated Monster. As a matter of fact, you know, talking about redoing my channel art, maybe I can incorporate Miscreated Monster, my favorite champion, on my new channel art. We'll see. Anyway, a chance of a stun and decreased defense if they're under stun on the A1. Not really super you know, important for Spider's den, but still, you know, solid ability on the A1. An AoE with the stun in the shield on the A2. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? The AoE with a massive shield, 25% of the damage inflicted. That's what the shield is based on, all allies for 3 turns. He's putting out insane damage because of the AoE on the Spiderlings. Just a magical, magical ability in his kit on Lightning Storm, especially with the stun. He's a really huge part of a team that has HP burn, so he can keep those Spiderlings alive to keep that burn going, right? He's great when paired with an UltimateGalic, who he had as the first champion here. And then not only that, but he can also add the Ally Protect on his It's Alive ability on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Going to soak up some of that damage. Also has that continuous heal on him for 3 turns to make sure he doesn't die. And then his passive is places a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked while under that Ally Protect buff. So Miscreated Monster is just insane, especially for Spider's Den, guys. What do you think of my list? What champions did I leave off? Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. I hope you were able to take a thing or 2 away from this video in terms of, hey, I have this champion, and hey, I'm struggling on Spiders, or my team could be improved. Give them a try, guys. I think you'll have a lot of success. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.